So this is going to be another review only of Tokyo Ghoul Route A episode 5. And I think it's on Funimation. So if it is on Funimation, I'll put a link in the box below if you want to see it, if you have a subscription. If you want to see it through other means, then do you. I ain't stopping you. Now, this episode, I gotta say, from animation alone, much better than last week. Whoa, last week was abysmal. But this week, it started off kind of meh. And then you had the blurred censorship. I was like, ugh. There's so many different variants of censorship in Tokyo Ghoul. You have the blacking out. You have the flip contrast. Then you have the blurred shit going on. I'm like, fuck. Like, there's so many variants. And it's truly annoying. But the animation did pick up when the Shinohara and Ayato fight was going on towards the end of that battle. But more so than anything else, it was when Shinohara was taking on Kaneki. Now that was when the animation was like, whoa, okay, now we're talking. Now, see, this is Tokyo Ghoul. Before, I don't know what the fuck that was. My pain is greater than yours bullshit. But now it's Tokyo Ghoul. That was some fierce shit. That was some very good animation. The way Ken was bouncing off the walls with his... Well, I forgot what the name was. Kakuja. Yeah, I think that's what they called it. Or that's what Shinohara called it. Right now, Kaneki, he's like evolving on some Pokemon shit. And well, let me not say it because I think it's going to be a spoiler because I'm not too sure if it was actually stated or not yet in this particular version of Tokyo Ghoul. But the point here is that he's become stronger. However, there's a downside to where it seems like the stronger he gets, the more crazy he becomes. Kaneki, who was fairly sane before, and granted he was tortured severely by Mr. Voorhees, unfortunately he's taken its toll, and he's attained massive strength now, but it's fucked his mind. His mind's like a scrambled egg now. And if you noticed, his Kagune, not the entirety of it, but because he has like, I don't know how many sacks he has, that sounds kind of weird, but he has a lot of sacks containing a lot of whatever a Kagune comprises of, RC cells. And the primary sacks are like, they can turn to like centipede-like protrusions. And if you remember, he was tortured by Jason, and one of the torture methods was centipedes in his ear. So, and he's actually to the point where he can take on Shinohara fairly easily. Now, granted, Shinohara did take on Ayato beforehand, so you could say, okay, fine. So, when it came to Shinohara, he wasn't at full strength. Furthermore, his Arata armor was actually acting fairly sluggish to begin with. And we pretty much understand now that the Arata armor that he is wearing, that Kagune sack came from the father of Ayato and Toka, which is actually really sad. And you just see Ayato, someone who's been pretty much ruthless, who has been very confident for the majority of this series, to just see him not even like do a full-on attack, just like a tap with his fist, and then just stare at Shinohara or stare at the armor, knowing that this was his dad. And I remember his dad, to my knowledge, he didn't actually kill any humans. He actually would dig up graves and consume bodies like that. Or like he would give the food to himself and his family like that. That's what I remember, the story. And I forgot who it was who was actually investigating them. But, because I don't think, maybe it was Shinohara, I forget. Because it's been a very long time. I want to say that it was, but I can't really confirm that because again, it has been a while. But either way, it's just really sad to know that. And to see someone who was as confident, who was as ruthless, and actually who was fairly skilled among Aogiri Tree be brought down to that level. And was probably going to die unless Kaneki intervened. Then you have a very fascinating... This to me was actually shocking because it's not in the manga. Hoji! Tata! Whoa! That's surprising. And when you... Because normally I skip the opening and ending of Tokyo Ghoul, to be honest with you. But when you watch the ending... I just happened to watch it this time around. On a whim. We get to see, I think, Tadara's face. There is a paint still of him and the mask off. And I was like, that's pretty fucking cool. Because that hasn't happened in the manga yet. So, and again, it is a different story. But still, that's pretty cool. And how Hoji and Tadara have a connection. And it looks like Hoji and I forgot what his name was, the other guy, like his assistant or his second command, you know, like his whatever, his subordinate. There you go. They have Kagune that belong to Tatara's friends or comrades or family. I'm not too sure. So that was fascinating. Now, granted, we didn't get to see a fight. We get to see like halfway in and before the CRC gas comes in there. But regardless, that was very intriguing. I was like, wow, that was good. Just to find out that Hoji and Tata have this connection. Furthermore, we have Kuro and Shiro and taking on Rei, now known as Juul. This one, again, animation-wise, it was meh. It wasn't that big of a deal. It really wasn't. But the events happened very similar in the manga, but in different contexts. And Shiro, at this point in time, looks like she's out of commission. And Kuro, she's on the retreat, obviously. And her wounds have, for the most part, healed from Juul's attacks. And what's very important to note is that A, their Kagune look like Kaneki's. B, it's the fact that they themselves were once human. They were once actually students in the CCG Academy, I think. Whatever it's called. And they were training themselves to be doves, pretty much. But something happened to their friend, where their friend died. And then, we don't know what happened after that, but they somehow became ghouls. So they were once human. They were just like Kaneki. They were once human. They apparently had some loss in their life. And instead of actually becoming doves, they became ghouls. And we don't know why or how, but we're going to probably find out later on. And that probably correlates to the old man that we saw with them in like episode 1 or episode 2 of this season. Now we get on to the final part. Because after you have Kaneki do his thing and he beats Shinohara. I mean, that was a nice move, man. He's bouncing around and shit. And Shinohara like, nah, man, I got this shit. Cuts him. And then Shinohara's like, out of all the ghouls I've faced so far, you're the craziest by far. And then you have Kaneki, Snap, and then Blitz. I mean, this guy warped behind him. Like, and I'm like, shit. And the way he moves reminded me of, like, Shishomu from Inuyasha. So he just moves after images. Oh, shit, Shinohara can turn time. Ugh. Nani. Boom. Done. And then you see him, like, just eating the Arata armor. And at this point in time, we don't know what's happening with Shinohara. I mean, we're not too sure. Did Shinohara actually get eaten by Kaneki? We don't know. But all of a sudden, in comes Amon. No, I'm coming. Eye patch. Guntai! Yeah. Comes in there. With I forgot what it's called. His Quinke. Whatever. Does his thing. And lo and behold, Kaneki's actually able to calm down with Amon there. That was very important. Because Kaneki, he doesn't want to... Well, actually, that may be a spoiler too. Fuck. Yeah, because I'm trying to make sure... Because I don't want to spoil anyone about the events that may or may not... Because it's different, but it's the same. It's very strange. It's not like... The story is different, but not that far from the manga in certain respects. Either way, who comes in to save the day? One-Eyed Owl. Now, this One-Eyed Owl... I say it like that because the One-Eyed Owl that we saw in this episode does not resemble the One-Eyed Owl that we saw in the beginning of the series, in the season. They're actually different. You can tell. You can see the difference. And, whoa. fuck? Remind you, CRC gas covering the entire area. And still, one-eyed owl. Whoa. Beastly. Beastly. You don't mean shit. Coming in there, swoop. Able to push apart those giant steel protrusions. Grabs those two. Boom, gone. I'm like, fuck. What the fuck, man? What the fuck? Crazy. The one else a scary motherfucker. He's a scary dude. He's like fucking swoosh, gone. Quiet as fuck, but at the same time loud as fuck. Just very impressive as fuck. My God, gold. Now again, very important to keep in mind. You look at the one-eyed owl that you see in episode 1. They're different. They're clearly different. They look similar, but they're different. That's very important. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Overall, the animation at the beginning, meh, and it doesn't help when you have fucking censorship all over the place. But overall, the animation was okay plus. The pacing, they focused mainly on the battles, and they did pretty much. I mean, aside from the Tata and Hoji thing, I think they did a pretty good job when it came to the Arata and the Shinohara. They did a pretty good job when it came to the Kuro and Shiro versus Juul. They did a pretty good. They did a damn good job on Kaneki and Shinohara. And I wanted Kaneki, not bad. So on that pacing standpoint, overall, I'll probably go with a good. And story-wise, they did make leaps. They did some leaps and bounds here and there. To me, the biggest thing was the Tata thing, because that doesn't exist in the manga. I was like, wow, like, that's pretty surprising. At least to my memory. Let me put that disclaimer there, because it's been some time, I think. I want to say about like a few months since I've actually read the Tokyo Ghoul manga, the original manga. Because right now there's Tokyo Ghoul RE, which I think I'm gonna start reviewing Tokyo Ghoul RE. I think like tomorrow, because tomorrow I was gonna do a lot of videos, and I did want to start reviewing Tokyo Ghoul RE, so I may do that tomorrow, Saturday, the 7th. So overall, that's it. I'm done. King of Lightning, and I will see you guys later. Overrating for the episode is going to be a good. So rate the video. Make sure to do that. Not that hard. You click. Not that damn hard. Rate the video. Comment as always, and subscribe. And I will see you guys later. Have a nice one.